Good, Joe. We're up. Being at 7 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. And we have a quorum present. First, why don't we stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So everyone should have an agenda in front of them. We have, with the agenda, at the very end, we're going to go into closed session, but we have our attorney Kathy here from Des Moines. So we're going to fit her in so she can get back on the road. So if you make a motion to approve the agenda, if you can approve it with that closed session at the beginning.
Move to approve with switching the closed session to the beginning of the meeting. I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made by Chris, seconded by Nick to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And you should have in front of you the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes, the invoices, and the financial reports. And hopefully you've had some time to review the list of invoices along with the financial reports and the minutes.
I didn't see any typos.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mike, seconded by Chris to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So with that, we need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
I'll second.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna move into the library.
she's very obsessed. Very obsessed. I know it's bad. I know, had never heard his name until this, because I left that. Until the one that looks at my work. And I know too. Do you like this? I know, she doesn't like it. She's not able to. I really. I know, it's so nice to just get up and work and then not have to like go anywhere. I get like, I just like it on my lap. It's really nice. How much are you gonna do? I'm required 12 hours a week. But it I feel bad because Ellen like always asks me for stuff, and I'm like, but the more pregnant I get, I'm transitioning more to doing it at home. Like the month of November, I will not be traveling very much at home. Because I'm doing it in December, so like, I'm just gonna stay home. Did you tell her? Yeah, because she asked, because originally it was October, so they wanted us, and then Rose reached out asking if we had to decide. And even though it's right there, I'm like, I don't want to be that pregnant. Being this pregnant in a school is a lot. Isaiah, he was sick on Wednesday, and I was like, oh, he said bye. I was saying bye to Amy. He goes, it's cool. Can I touch you? I was like, sure. He's so cute. And he's just like, he's just very. It's something else. It's like, you look like this. Wow. When I was there the whole time, I was like dressing up and wearing makeup, like doing my hair most of the time, and then you just get to the point. And then one day I showed up, I was like, haircut, and I fixed my hair, and more makeup, and I showed up, all the papers were like, why do you look like that? I'm like, it's not good. It's not good that this is what you're offended by. That means I don't have to do myself up enough. So cute. The first day that I was there, Amy had just told me I was pregnant, and she didn't know. So she had just told it the night before, and she was like, don't be surprised if he has to do 11 questions. Okay, fine. We were sitting there, and I think he was working on foundation or something. Yeah. It's silent. And he looks at me and he goes, what's going on? Oh, she had a baby. And I was like, I'm having a baby. He goes, no, like now. I was like, no, you don't. You do not want me to have this baby right now.
And I'm like, I'm not sure that's what it is. And I'm not like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would have too, because she was talking before I came, and he was like, I first wondered. And Amy goes, oh, it's a girl, like, she already knows it's a girl, and he goes, no, I'm gonna ask this woman. He's gonna be nice. Isn't he? Yeah. Yeah. So.
Oh, cheers. Cheers. So good. Have you tried it? Have you tried it? And I like the sweet, but also
No, but I am. But I don't know, that's what I'm used to. I think that's what.
And so. Free sugar and non-sugar. Yeah.
Last.
Free sugar and sugar-free.
I like I would take all of the work.
It's not.
And there's, there's her last year.
And I might just like go to her. And I was like, I wish I would have known about this job, because I would have taken this back.
Yeah.
It was. I didn't know that she, I just thought her she already preschool types. She might have, but that was like 2 years, maybe, but. Maybe it goes, maybe why she wanted to hear it. Yeah. It's something like very well.
Yeah, she retired.
She didn't get out the side, but I think it tastes good. Which is crazy. And I tried the rice cauliflower. Well, I like it. Kind of like fried rice. That's what I tried. And you can cook up some quinoa if you don't. Season. You would. They are all have that laryngitis. Some kids get that at first, and have a day or two, then they're fine, but then the laryngitis starts to last. He always visits more house. Every time he said it was 2 hours. She came home. Not for that, he's not terrible. She goes, I'm fine with that, didn't want this voodoo. My mom was a great. Got some strep, we got some COVID. Some right stars. But a lot of them aren't even testing cleared up. They don't know they have any. And I know, Michelle, I know, said where the Brooklyn works in Portage, it's not great. Last year. Yeah. Okay. Unless you're like in a super high risk group, like somebody who has. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and I get.
Yeah, like if you work in a nursing home or something.
Yeah, they went on a cruise and somebody in her aunt just called her, she had it, so she went to the hospital and had her with us.
I was sick when we were on that in the summer, they thought it was strep in, so she took it every year, it wasn't. They're like, it's just like, well, you want to test for COVID and stuff? About it, but I like, 21 test on it, like, it doesn't change.
Kristen had a lot of ear infections when she was little, so we had her toxins and that. all the time.
I mean, it's what we're doing school, and he's abstract, and that's school. I mean, he's just.
Our baseball teams, like,
And it hasn't even like cold or rain.
little, for that. Beluga.
Because that's our encouragement, that we can work it out.
He did thyroid surgery, and he's so funny, because he goes, "Oh, I did a very good job, my husband just finds me the methods." And no, 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 no. And he's always like, it really wasn't that good, there's a huge scar.
Is he like?
He's some medical ornament. Yeah, my accent wasn't like.
I'm pretty sure my chocolate marker, his name was Who Wants a Llama. He was definitely been only sure.
My county professor, how will you
Yeah.
My calc teacher was a foreign lady, and I couldn't understand her, and she said, it's good thing I did not do it. Because I transferred to calc, the Morris, and I Simpson, and I was not seeing class week, we had, like, 2 weeks, she's like, I don't do all this, and I use it this class. She's like, there's a test dates, it's gonna be the test dates. Yeah. Really already do all of this, you and I had for 2 years. Yes. I said, I just don't want to tell you what to do. I think you know everything you need to know. And she eventually got on her. That's so I've asked you that night. So
You have to, I'm sure he can. Yes, he doesn't admire, he doesn't admire you. We're sitting around and that's how Josh got staples in his head, because we're here for maybe. And I believe that
do you remember? So he graduated 8 years ago. So he came back the other day. He passed on my door. It's 8:30. He's got a visitor pass on. He opens the door. He's like, hi. He goes, you ruined me. Like,
that's on.
he was jamming pot before we had jamming pot in a like totally disorganized way. He couldn't keep track of this.
Not in the sporting.
Not in the sporting. Yeah. Anyway, he wrote me, I go, how do you interview me? He goes, no, I'm gonna get him a teacher. And then 8 years old. Why? They asked me to that, and I'm like, so it's a call, and I had seniors, and they. Yeah. I do. I work here. I still work here. They're in a closed session, and I just want to show you where it's at.
All of our.
Yeah.
And you should want to have.
I'm pretty sure you said all your girls in the room. One reason they don't have room to take the person. Actually, he thinks he wants to be. It plans out for meals. We have a restaurant budget, and he's like, I'm there. They could expensive, but they didn't have. But, yeah. There's this higher graduates in Amherst, that I think just the negotiations themselves. So we call all the dealerships, so we're calling that 5 minutes, and guys, down to the so we started playing agencies, we started paying the 5. He's only at work. Yeah, exactly. It's better, it's better. So. She was here. You wanted to go to the meeting center, because they were the ones that. I think it would be. Yeah, so, yeah, so, I think, bring them there. That's what it's. So really, if I they were really sad, he was willing to work past 6 a.m. He wanted to work like 6 a.m. Or school board, and then he spent this, they wanted to do the person starting at 4:30, they can check in those cases. He has class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Those are these, so we could do that, she was shooting that, but it was always well, for that, Gus is recent and he has, I got a lot of, yeah. Yeah. It's nice. So then I say, you should know the names of all your kids in your class. I say that to kids, I'm like, how do you not know the names of kids in your class? You should know their names. I graduated with 132 kids. I didn't know, I knew everybody in my class and most of the people in grades, like immediately I was. And then my sister was 2 times, so I knew most of her class. So some two things were in the yearbook. So like yearbook counts a lot. So, but mine. Yeah, well, I can't imagine graduating outside. And they can. She's kind of there, and she's on a child education track. All right, she might want to be a teacher, so they have kinds of programs, she works with more things. She was another high school that, they have their own daycare in high school. Teachers who use and you work in it, but it's good. And learn how.
Missy and I have been doing that for our majors, education track for anybody working in without a major. We take them through all day. We take them through the elementary ages, so things. That's there. So for us, that's science and business. Because it has to fall into that day. Yeah, I told them I'd go back and get it, I didn't see you here. Yeah, see, they have, they have to put it on where you said, it's.
Seniors working, turning longer,
That's what the state wants us to do. What we can't do is they can't come in. So we're not later, or we can't meet their requirements. Other requirements. Like, they have that, our ADEs, Johnson, and she's a bit, I'm on the state committee, and she doesn't get it. I'm like, you don't understand. In Northwest Iowa, the kid might have to travel an hour to 90 minutes to get to that kind of internship. And even then, when I get back, that is not the standard. The standard is it's fine right now, but when there's something. Now, like Storm Lake 85, like I need a bus. Yes, on our floor, we have. It's a good construction trades. That's how we did that, as soon as we find, we just shut that out down.
Yeah, but I just 2 minutes about a year, maybe 2, because they was still here when I first came.
We didn't leave a And that was a good program for us, and we had a lot of kids that came from dance and stuff. All our employees, we had that giant bus barn, that bus barn underneath the bottom center. This week, dance still does construction trades. No, I don't think they necessarily built a house anymore, like we used to.
That's right.
Do they actually have a house everywhere anymore? I don't know, it's self-service. A couple of those now, golf course right here. That's all they got to do. Go east for miles. I saw the house for sale. That's stuff. Next thing I did, 2 rounds. Oh, good. Right at the start, I was like, oh, these are good. This is not coming up now, but all of a sudden, we're eyes about it. First quiz. You know, it's so hard. Yeah, the first quiz, it like he really labored over it. Yeah. It's really. Yeah. He's like, I don't know what. And there's something in the book where the end of the chapters. Yeah, like a demonstration problem and the chapter. Yeah. And then he said, well, I figured that out. Oh, we finally got to give him some credits this week. They use that expanded equation and they try to, and the whole thing is understand that the equation has to stay equal all the time.
What is it going down?
Yes.
It's dropping down. And I'm like, I think you find it after red. Not sure.
But now we're into demonstrating credits, so like today it was, okay, what happened, what accounts are affected, how are they affected, does that mean debit or credit? So, yeah, last was easy. Yeah.
Gotta figure out the trick. But that's what the blade thing, but figure out.
And I tell them all the time, I'm like, don't feel bad if you don't get it, you're gonna have a moment, and they all do.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember you committed my like, oh, you're not today. Feel my offer today.
I don't know how many times I say, don't feel bad, we're just starting this, don't get it, you memorize this for now, and then eventually it'll just be like, when I say what's 2 plus 2, you know it's 4. When I say, you know, what type of account is cash, you know it's an asset, it becomes automatic, but it just takes some of
And she's like,
He's so big, he's
feeling to me, like, whoa, whoa. And we.
yeah, he's at the second year now, and so he's a kid, he's so funny. Every time he does something, and then we're,
Have you done DWB yet?
yes, he asked, instead of, you know, I have the championship thing on the wall, he asked if I could make little trophies for their lockers instead. You know, I have to go back and see them.
It's amazing.
He said, can you stop on our locker? And all the time, he's like, I want more. I don't know if you did, you know, I did.
But last year, he did one that one time, and then.
He could go girls versus boys, because he likes to be on his own and train with everybody. No, he was gonna be like, we need that he's in his second year, because there's a lot of this year. Because it's actually really hard. You know what, she's still like to have that, no matter what she does.
Now you're going to college, maybe you're going to college.
We talked about that, like kids that maybe their first year, so on it, and we say, okay, well, if you take this every year, financial managerial accounting are in your core. If they're actually doing arts courses, you have part of your core done. Where you get there, like at Iowa State, for example, Iowa State, managerial is because he had all the other stuff, but so he was sitting like that, sitting with his transcript, and he really shouldn't have had yet. And then they'll be, like this little business group class, and he started, he said the professors are kind of, who know this? I was like, I took this in high school. You did? It's nice to get advantage from that, especially if they're not accounting data, well, now they have that, like, not in classes.
That's right.
No, yeah,
No, he was out.
And they said,
Like TA, and then there's like Adams, this freshman year. Well, I was thinking. He wanted to take like astronomy or something.
Like make up stuff, just make a day trying to find a main place, like, I still don't know if I got it found for sure, I think I do, but.
I was getting made fun of today at my hand. Working on sheer gold, fairway. I got kind of wedged in. I come in the house, got this big bruise type. It's like an old grandpa bruise. An old man bruises. Like, yeah, you're right, it's an old man bruise.
You're 50 now, right?
Yeah. It's always the day when I'm trying to be in a hurry to get on the road for my real job. Feed cattle, 4:30. Pop a shear bowl, feed like, I figure out why.
Small piece of steel is in there somewhere.
Actually, blades, pop leaves.
Switch, right there.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to get that out.
Oh, that was. Okay, we're back in regular session and we're gonna move on into what's going well. And Joe, do you wanna go first? Since we don't have Tracy or Andrea here quite yet.
Yes, I can do that. One of the things I want to mention is the fact that, and as I put out with my Friday memo, we did receive SFM, who is our workman's comp carrier, a grant that will allow us to purchase some rechargeable floor drying pieces of equipment so that in the wintertime when we have the activities, ball games, we can actually set those up with warning cones. Half of the cost is covered through the grant, making this a fairly low-cost burden on the part of the district, and at the same time increase our slip and fall protections within the district. I'd also like to mention and share with the board that Andrea Christians has been selected to serve on the MISIC board. MISIC is Mid-Iowa School Improvement Consortium. This is a large number of districts across the state. And it's one that we have utilized for some of our professional development needs and supports over the years. We've been members of it for a very long time, but Andrea will be representing the district as well as other districts, serving on that advisory board for them. The other piece last week, we had GeoCom in. We've talked a little bit about the governor's safety initiative. So this one involves the mapping of school districts across the state of Iowa so that there are accurate maps that are then in the hands of sheriffs and law enforcement and first responders. So they came in, verified the blueprints that we uploaded and submitted. And in addition to that, they also walked the building to verify that there weren't things that were left off of those blueprints. And we had one building where we did not have active blueprints. And they actually scanned that building and will then create that document based on that information.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Tracy, you want to be next on what's going well?
Good evening. We have lots of exciting things happening at the elementary. Our PAC Elementary Facebook page is up and running. We encourage everyone to take the time to check out our Tuesday talk that will be posted tomorrow. We also just finished setting up all the new furniture for the students on both levels of the building. The classrooms look great, and the staff and students seem to like the new tables and desks. We just recently had our first High Five Friday at the elementary. We want to thank Black Hills Energy for coming and sharing a high five with each student. Anyone interested can contact the elementary office and get on the list. We have several days open starting in January, the full till end. And finally, we just kicked off our school year with a spot of kindness. Students earned spots from their teacher and they were able to come to the office and put their name in our Kindness Matters bucket. We ended up having 599 students with spots of kindness. As a result, we drew a name for each grade level and hope to have that in the paper soon. So make sure you're checking in frequently to see all the great things that are happening at Pac Elementary. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Tracy. Andrea, by the way, Andrea, congratulations on being selected to serve on the Mid-Iowa School Consortium Board.
Thank you. Thanks. I like stuff like that. I don't know what that says about me, but. I would like to introduce our new industrial tech teacher, Dennis Carell. I thought it would be fun for him to share some of his experiences with you, his background. I told him he has 3 minutes. Go on. You can put as long as you want, right?
We can do it in 30 seconds. Basketball trades, master of nothing. I'm done. I don't know exactly if you have any questions, what all you want to know. I went to a technical school with a degree in construction technology. Have an extensive background also as a journeyman plumber and electrician in Nebraska. And worked there in Nebraska, actually on my own company for 14 years there, where I did all 3 of those different classifications in the Lincoln, Nebraska area. Went through the getting married, moving a couple, 3-4 times for her job. Had a back injury, so no more lifting. And drove a truck for 11 years, burned out, went to Montana to teach. 5 years later, 4.5 years later, came here. So that's probably the short version. The other thing is that I am a 48, 49-year volunteer firefighter, EMTAC. So I'm an instructor with the National Fire Academy. I'm also a K-9 fire investigator with the National Fire Academy. So I've got a very strong emergency service background. And we've hit the ground running with short times to get turned around from Montana to get here with everything. Trying to get the programs up and running, trying to clean out some sections down there, but we're on the line to start putting together a plumbing electrical program for you guys as well, realizing construction. Realizing the need of the ACTE program that's nationwide. So I think that's all I really have. And if you have some questions you want to ask or point or.
Dennis was the name, correct?
Yes.
Just welcome aboard. And it's really nice to have someone that has a lot of hands-on experience. That could be very beneficial to the kids, I think.
It's been a good change so far.
Excited to have you, especially with your trades background. I think that's a huge benefit for this district.
That is, I'm a member of the ACTE program, which is an association of current technical educators. And that's basically a program that's got a push to take technical people out of the field and put them in place with teachers without doing the 4 or 5 year teacher jump issue. Because they're so short on the expertise in getting and skills levels nationwide. I mean, people here in town said they've been waiting 2 and 3 weeks for an electrician. Not to mention the price of an electrician to try to get your house. So I get it. How that all fits in, if the company students look at this and say they don't want to do that, fine, they maybe learn a little bit to work on their own house. If they get in there and they like it, want to make it a career, they hopefully have to step in and put it in these other areas. So.
Very good. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Karen, did we have any public communication with the board? Okay, thank you. So we're going to move into business. And first on our agenda is to discuss / approve teachers moving on the salary schedule. And Joe, I'll let you kind of lead us into that. It begins on page 39 of the packet.
Correct. So twice a year, teachers have the opportunity to move on the salary schedule and submit. It's shortly after the start of each semester. We had 4 submit applications requesting those moves. Those are written down in front of you here. Chad Francis, Peyton Berenson, Paul Ulrich, Jessica Gottschalk. Their paperwork is in there. We're certainly pleased as staff are continuing to pick up additional coursework and beneficial to the district. We recommend that you approve.
Peyton Berenson was told me for Wednesday.
Well, it's new.
Yeah. Like 5 days ago.
Yes.
I moved to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion made by Chris, seconded by Mike to approve the list of teachers moving on the salary schedule. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, an update by board on the PR committee. I can start, but Dustin and Tony and Joe, please feel free to add some items to the discussion. We met 2 times, correct? The first meeting we met with just the 3 board members plus Joe, and we tried to put together basically a priority list for the committee. And we came up with, I guess I would say we came up with a list of names and titles as to who we're going to meet with to help us with our priorities and make sure we're on the right path, sort of thing. So what we decided after our initial meeting is we're going to get together with groups of staff and we're going to spend a half an hour or maybe more than that. And we have a list of priorities that we've came up with as a group. And we're going to use these staff members as a sounding board to determine whether or not they agree with the priorities that we've kind of put together. And thus far, we had the holiday to deal with, and that was, with the holiday there, that kind of used up some of the days that we might have used to get together with some of these groups. But we've met with the administrators thus far, and we're hoping to get together with the other groups sooner than later. But we understand people have lives outside of their jobs, and we'll try to accommodate their schedules. And do we have any other meetings set up?
Not yet. I've got to work on that next.
Okay. All right. I think we're having good discussion. We had a discussion with the admin team prior to our special board meeting last week. And other than the fact, I think maybe 30 minutes wasn't quite long enough, I think we had good discussion. And I think it's going to lead to good things. And that was the purpose of forming the committee. So I'm optimistic. You guys want to share any other thoughts?
No, just expanding a little bit on what you had. We're past the staff and admin, reaching out to the music and fine arts boosters, reaching out to the athletic boosters, coaches and AD, and also trying to get county economic development to participate in this, giving us feedback as to where we can be more interactive and get more involvement from the community as well. So yeah, I do think it's off to a great start, and as we kind of interview the stakeholders, we'll learn a lot more and be able to come back to the board with a recommendation.
You guys nailed it. That's basically what we talked about. Except for the meeting times, yeah.
I think-
Any of those are set.
Not yet, but Joe's gonna work on that, so.
Okay.
Just so you guys are aware of this, and I think I've mentioned this, I might be more kind of hit and miss over the next couple weeks because of activities outside of my job, but sure. Please schedule them without me if you, because I think it's important. Anything else, Joe? Okay. We'll move on. We're gonna move on to discuss / approve bus camera system. So if we could kind of get some additional information shared with us and some quotes for maybe some other possible ideas, along with additional information and maybe some references from the company that we were presented to by during our special meeting. Looks like Jeff has some handouts for us.
So Paul got me the name of two. One was a superintendent and one was a transportation director out of Kansas. The transportation director was out of the office today, but I did talk to the superintendent. But on the quotes, the transportant is the one that they came and gave us the demonstration on. The one behind it is provisions. And that is just a standalone camera quote that is nothing with the dash, with the GPS, the tablet, child tracking or nothing on it. And then the third one is through Hoagland out of Marshalltown, which REI is what two of our systems are we have now, but they're not up to date with this system. So the first page is just the camera system alone. And then if you want to go with the child tracking, the GPS, the monitoring, is the second page through Premier Wireless. They do not do it as an in-house. It is they work together between the two programs. So pretty much, other than the provision one, which is just the cameras, the other two are pretty close to the same price range between the two. The provision one for just the cameras was a little higher than what the rest were for just the camera system.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the provision one is $41,652 for just the camera system?
Yep.
And how many buses did we say we have?
We run 8 routes.
Okay.
So when we initially was talking it, we were doing 8, all the route buses and 2 spares. So the superintendent I talked to is out of Knox County, R1, Missouri. Their district covers 496 miles and they run 11 buses. They've been on this program. He said they've run all 11 buses now for 3 years. They were one of the first 5 schools to start with this company when this company first started up. One question we had is what is their favorite feature? And he said the child, monitoring the child on and off. He said if you got somebody they're looking to see if they're on the bus, Administration could look it up right there on the computer. It logs it automatically on the computer that yes, they're on the bus, no, they're not, or they got off. We asked him about coverage, cell phone coverage. He said, we are very rural. And he said 90% of the time we have our GPS. He says, we'll lose it in our areas and we know them areas. But even though you lose the GPS and the signal, that the recorders still record the video on the buses. And then we asked him about having the LTE versus the 5G cellular access. He thinks that since they went to 5G, their cameras are worse than when they had 4G. He thought they operated better under the 4G. Then we asked about boarding, what they use. They said now they're using stickers on their ID, student ID badges, and they scan as they come in. He said the elementary, they have lanyards on their backpacks that they scan. He goes, after the first couple months, he goes, it's just common. They just scan it just like, it's nothing, it's just every day. So we asked about the drivers having challenges with the dashboard. He said, start slow. He said, don't bring it all to them at one time. He said, work them in, get your routes on. He said, then go to the next step and the next step. And he said, they don't have any trouble with their drivers running it. We asked about Wi-Fi for their students. He said he's not concerned about that. He said he's more concerned about the cameras and the GPS. He said it is offered to the students, but he said they have not had any complaints of the Wi-Fi not working, and they have never used their full data package.
With this district being 496 square miles, how does that compare to us?
Pocahontas area is 387 square miles, just of district. That doesn't include your peripheral areas that you've got students coming from. So your route miles primarily are at 387.
So we'd be just a tiny bit smaller than this one.
A little bit smaller, but probably running about the same mileage per bus, because they're running 11 buses and we're running 8.
Okay.
So the mileage would be about the same.
This, is it Hoagland Bus Company where we have our other cameras from?
Yep.
Now, you said these were updated cameras. What are the differences from this to what we have on there now? Also, this to the transport. Yeah.
These cameras here are Wi-Fi, ours aren't. So every time I got to pull video, I got to go out, pull card, download it on my computer in the office. And that's the only place we can see it is in my office. Versus these are Wi-Fi, but they're still not, administration can't live video these unless you add the armor package on the next page to it. It would just be downloaded at the bus barn via Wi-Fi versus pulling the data card.
And that's the 22,000 or what?
That would be 2,200 per bus on top of the 4,200 to put those new cameras in.
So if you use those in combination, that makes that combined package more expensive than transport?
And you're dealing with 2 separate companies versus dealing all with one company doing the whole package.
And this provision just doesn't offer the.
No, they gave me another company name, and that company has not got back to me yet.
Okay.
On doing the other end of it as far as the live stream the GPS and that for the buses.
So right now, when we have an issue on a bus, you, ladies have to go out there and look at the video. Yeah, which could happen with the new system as well.
The new system, if there was an issue, I can timestamp it and send it to the administration, and they can all pull it up on their own computers or their phone, or if there's something that a driver has an issue with on the road, they can live stream it right off their phone.
What is your recommendation, Jeff, of these three companies?
From what I've seen, the transporting being just one company is, to me, the better way to go. It is, you know, talking to, and I sat through a deal with the Premier yesterday, and it was like so many different steps that REI had to do before they could hook up to REI, and then they both had to go, and then REI has to have their antenna mounted on the bus, and then Premier has to have their antenna mounted on the bus. So it's kind of like I say, it's two complete systems versus one system.
Let me ask the same question to Joe and administration. What's you guys' recommendation?
I'm going to defer to the principals in part because they're doing more the day in, day out. I get called out if they're not available and Jeff needs a second set of eyes to try to find something, or more likely, it has to do with a verbal component and trying to decode what you're hearing, which means playing it over and over and over with those multiple sets of ears, trying to make out who said what. That's the majority of the time that I personally get called out for. But we've had times where we have had both the transportation director and a principal on a bus driving a route because of ongoing issues. That's not a good use of personnel time and district resources, in my opinion. I think Dustin's right. There's never going to be a guarantee that you're going to get it. But right now, our system is a 2-camera system. It's one in the back, one in the front. And you've got the rest of the bus in between that doesn't have that good of coverage. This one's going to have that middle also, which in my mind has major benefits, because now you've got a more complete coverage of what's going on.
Well, the thing I like most about it too is they got touch on, touch your picture on, and then when they get off that way, you know exactly where they got off on the bus, or off the bus. If somebody calls up and says, hey, my child isn't here, and he was supposed to be here 15 minutes ago, you should be able to tell them within 2 minutes, they got off here, say grandma's house or an aunt or uncle's house or whatever.
But this is only for cameras right here.
Which
No, that's the whole system.
This is,
That's the whole system.
And this would be 5 cameras?
Yes, 5 cameras per bus. The superintendent in Kansas told me, he just said, it's a peace of mind to know if the weather's bad, you can watch on your computer and know that every bus is back home. The last kid got dropped off. He goes, you don't have to sit and wait for the driver to come back. You know that they're all done, or parking like we park in Pomeroy. I know that the bus is back.
Is it 5 or 7? It's 5
What?
cameras. Is it 5 cameras plus the 2 on the stop arm?
If we want the 2 on the stop arms, and there's 2 on the stop arm, there's 5 interior. There's one over the driver that shines out the door, over the doorway. And then, there'll be 4 scattered throughout the bus that shine down, look down between the seats. And with the newer buses, I don't think, we might have one that maybe has the lowest seats, but the newer buses got high enough seats that even if I sit in the seat, I can't see over top of the seats. So if you put a camera up front, you're seeing the first two seats and that's all you're seeing.
So this quote, it has a number for the stop arm. Does that mean we get it?
Yeah, that one would have it, yep.
It's included in the 6409.
Yep,
60,
$675 for the stop arm camera.
So with this new system, in the last meeting, we had a talk about, do you guys get video about 4 times a month?
I've already had 2 before starting.
I've got another one full
2 to
tonight.
4?
It happens a lot, and, you'll get calls from parents concerned that there's bullying on the bus. Well, they don't know the kids' names, and so it's really hard for me to pursue that, because I don't know where to start. So, being able to see in those cameras, it's strategic. We watched it live, we watched it as a student team, and we could see almost everything on the bus, the seats, and be very helpful.
And you bring that up as a small number, Dustin, but I only got cameras on 2 buses.
Sure.
Out of the 9 that we were running last year. So not saying that all of them need it, but, you know, it's.
For the, I guess for me, I'd like to know the number of students we pick up out in rural areas, or how many stops we make out in rural areas such as the Rolf route.
Stretch's route has 22 turns.
Okay, 22 turns, how many kids does she pick up? And how many households does she stop at?
Probably 10.
10 homes?
Yep.
Okay. And that's one of the larger routes, is that correct?
That's the larger per mile.
Per mile?
Yeah. Probably the other one would be Kevin's route down by Pomeroy. Probably, he's got. I think he's got 11 stops and then Pomeroy.
11.
So if we were to install this on a bus and say 2 years from now, you want to change that bus out, is that something you could do with the hardware? You could change that, or we have to have someone come up and reinstall?
No, they will train us to be installers.
Okay.
Because if we have an issue with the camera, they'll send us a new camera to replace it, and we can install it if we're trained to be installers.
Okay.
So he said the first bus, or however many they'll come do, and then we'll work with them on the buses to become a certified installer for them. And then we can take it out and move it from bus to bus.
Would you recommend we do the stop arm camera, or?
For 675, what?
I don't know, I'd say we don't have a lot of problem, but I've had 2 of them run it this year.
It's another $7,000, it's not.
So it's one of them deals, if you don't have it, you'll never catch them. If you have it, you might not ever need it.
I'll move to approve the bid from transport.
I'll second it.
We probably should clarify how many buses.
Everything Jeff wants, 10 buses.
Yeah,
what you're asking for?
that would give us a spare, because if we have 2 on a trip, we can still have them on our spare buses.
Do we have a lot of issues with the other sports buses and all that to where we need to install this stuff? I wouldn't assume that players are getting in fights or.
Not necessarily fights, but there's issues. More so on your younger groups, on your field trips, there's issues.
Yeah. Okay, last one for me is this, is it Oakland again?
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? I know we have that system, but with the updated system, I'd like to know who has that system and how it works in their buses. Like the information that we just got from Transportant.
We do have a motion on the floor.
Are we discussing still?
Yep.
I do know that Storm Lake is working on moving to that program with the Premier Wireless.
They are.
But they've also already have the new style, so they're just adding the Premier Wireless to their package.
They already have the videos.
They've already have the newer
Cameras.
REI cameras.
With Hoagland, right?
Yeah.
And do they like them, don't like them, benefits?
Must like them with the REI. Though our REIs are probably old enough that we got one that you couldn't hear if somebody yelled on the bus, because the engine noise is so loud, or the exhaust noise.
Yeah.
The noise canceling cameras are not in that bus.
In if we approve this, I guess for me, if this gets approved, what are our steps if a kid's left behind or, the scan doesn't work? Where do we go to? Who do you reach out to?
For help,
Yeah, I mean.
they have a support group.
Okay,
And they monitor it. They can monitor all of our buses from Kansas, wherever their office is out of. They can monitor every time we start the bus, or every time I go into my computer, it'll give a health check of every bus if there's an issue with the camera.
or like, what's our process if we've got a bus delay because of snow? What's our process? What do we do?
Right now,
No, yeah, right now, or if this was approved, we're stuck in the snow,
no.
how do we get that out there?
Well, if we enroll the parent app with the Transportant, then if I remember Paul right, is you can, contact them parents through the parent app on that route.
It would also tell them if the bus was not getting to their stop timely, once that part of it is implemented, based on the conversation we had with them. The geofence wouldn't be triggered, so they would not get an alert that the bus was within 2 stops or whatever that set distance timeline is.
And it sounds like, I'm sorry, Joe, are we done? I wasn't letting you answer.
No, go ahead.
It sounded like what he told us, I mean, you have access to help 24/7, basically, is what he said, didn't he?
And just for the program, but I'm talking about us as a district, what are our steps for anything that happens with this new program?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please.
So I had a grandparent call Friday afternoon wondering why the student hadn't gotten off the bus at their home. And it would have been really nice to be able to know whether that student even got on the bus in the first place. But what I do, first of all, is call Jeff and say, hey, Jeff, can you find out if this particular student got on this particular bus? So we're always like calling each other, trying to find out. And then he would have checked with the driver. At the time, he was with another adult who had seen that student walking to a different part of town. So luckily, we had eyes on the kid and we knew where he was. We knew he didn't get on the bus because it's, small town, so we happened to see him, right? But it would have saved a step, obviously, if I could get in and just be like, let's see if this kid's scanned in. Now, am I completely sold on kids being able to scan in and out? That's gonna be a learning curve for our drivers and our kids and our families, and I think that's okay. But it would definitely be something that shows that we value safety of our kids, and knowing where they are.
Yeah.
So, my opinion on that.
Sure, and we do value the safety of our kids, and we express that, I believe, without this system.
True. We're always communicating. I mean, we would call each other to answer your questions.
Sure. With
And say,
the,
oh,
you got
this
a
bus is
radio,
late. Yeah.
yeah, all that stuff.
I just have one question. So there are annual costs that go with this.
Yep.
And that's on the annual subscription fees. And they're listed as basically, what would it be, $120, correct, per month? Is that per bus?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 65 per month.
It'd be 65 per month. There's two different options.
Oh, okay. So it's, we don't have both of them. It's
No,
one or
it's
the other.
one or the
Okay.
other.
That would make sense.
But then you gotta realize that if we're providing our Wi-Fi through this system, we're already paying for hotspots on every bus.
Is that a cost we can drop then, Joe? Is that a separate fee?
In theory, if this works the way we believe it to be, you're locked in for a certain amount of time. Most of those are contract related. We'd have to dig in a little further on that, but
Do we need to tailor our motion to determine which one of those we want?
Yes. Does it have to be on there?
What's
Which one do you got?
the total, all the buses gonna be? I guess.
Take that 6409 times 10, so you're 64,090. And then we have to determine, as far as our annual subscription fees, do we want to go with the $65 a month or the 55?
I think it's, is the total 6409 or is it 6614 for each bus? Because you're not going with the Suburbans up above,
Right.
right?
Yep. So it'd be the 4614 plus the 1999.
Not the 1999, the 1795?
1795.
1795.
That'd be the 6409. So that must be the correct cost. And we'd go with 10, so you're talking 64,090, and then we have to determine which one of the monthly options we prefer to go with.
Well, you got unlimited Wi-Fi on the first one. It doesn't say anything about that on the second.
Right, second one is just
So you
basically
need
your
to go with the
camera.
first one if you're gonna replace your Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Replace your Wi-Fi, and now it's just increasing the price.
Is that an amendment to
Yeah,
your
that's an
motion?
amendment with 6409 plus the high resolution safety subscription.
I'll still second it.
What was that, Chris? Which one?
The 6409 plus the $65 high resolution stuff.
Do we have any other discussion? If not, we have a motion made by Chris, seconded by Mike to go with the 6409 per bus times 10 buses, plus the $65 per month annual subscription fees per bus. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks,
Thanks
Jeff.
for the research you did on this.
Yep.
I hope it works well.
It will.
Gonna make it work, right?
Yeah.
Next on the agenda, discuss/approve review of 100 series board policies, first reading, which is on page 13 of our packet. Any changes, Joe?
Yeah, we have a couple that we need to do. On page 16, we'll be substituting in Tracy Carlson for Jackie Fondley for this particular policy. Same thing on page 17. Page 18. Page 19. I believe page 23. And since this is the first time for some of our board members, in order to allow plenty of time to become familiar with these, I'd recommend that you just do the first reading and allow it to come back next month. That way, no one's feeling rushed.
So no changes to the policy other than changing personnel?
Correct.
Okay.
Move to approve the first reading of the 100 series policies.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion made by Nick, seconded by Chris to approve the first reading of the 100 series board policies. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, update on the Pomeroy facility progress.
All right, so just a small couple things to share with the board here this evening. Abatement testing, or the asbestos testing, shouldn't call it abatement yet, that's coming. But the asbestos testing tentatively to start September 20th and 21st, right in that window. They're estimating to have a report back to the district in or around October 13th tentatively. From there, they'll work on developing the paperwork and the work necessary for bidding for the actual abatement process. And they estimate that abatement could start in December. I still got to follow up from our last meeting we had, Pomeroy Library, to see where we're at in terms of discovering where the shutoff, water shutoff is for the building prior to frost issues taking away that option for us. At this point in time, we do not know where that shutoff valve is for the building. It was shared at that meeting that there is a chance there may not be one. And if there isn't, we need to have one installed because we could have had a real serious issue if we had a water break and no way to stop it coming into the building and no heat long-term. That would have been some rather significant consequences for both the building and the district both. So I'll be working hopefully tomorrow to make some phone calls so that we at least have to sure that that process is started. And at this point in time, we're still waiting for them as far as the sharing agreement basically around the blueprints. So there's been no forward progress at this point yet on that.
I did get an email this afternoon
Reached out.
from Mayor Holroyd. She asked if I could mention this at the meeting tonight. She wasn't able to make it. Basically, they have identified an architect and some developers to work with who agreed to our non-disclosure agreement. We'll get that signed. They would like to have a walkthrough of the building with the developer and the architect and then present some options to us. If their ideas are acceptable, that's where it could potentially move into the sale of the public building, and we'd have to have that discussion with our attorneys for next steps. But I have identified somebody who would work with and give us a proposal for alternate options and usage.
Is anyone else aware of any other updates with the building? I am not. Okay, I think we're okay to move on to the next item, aren't we? Personnel, no resignations. That is a good development. Contracts, Stephanie Woolley, associate, Christina Larden, associate/substitute.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Nick, seconded by Jolene to approve the contracts for the two listed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Superintendent's update.
Just a little bit of information. With school board elections pending, September 21st is the filing deadline for anyone wishing to run for the board. Individuals must file with the board secretary by 5 p.m. on the 21st. So board central office will be open until 5 p.m. that evening for the submission of paperwork. For those that we're aware of, we'll be sharing some additional information with them from the Iowa School Board Association with some background information and some guidance. November 7th would be the election, and the estimated date for canvass of the results would be somewhere in or around November 21st. So we will not know the outcome until then because we cover more than one county. So as a result, there's 2 tiers of those canvass, of those election results that has to occur. It should position us so that we would be in a position for the December board meeting to have our organizational meetings, swear in our newly elected board members, and close out any business that would still be outstanding from the outgoing board members. And that's all I've got for this evening.
Okay.
Did you ever get a time you want to meet with the, I know you were busy all this week, Joe, but
Well,
like I said, just shoot us a
she was
text.
home, she was out of the office all of last week, so we'll touch base again and we'll look for a date for the facility committee.
I'm just asking.
Yep.
Oh, he wants to meet about the insurance with the.
Our insurance agent wants to go over some of the increased costs and some possible ways down the road we might be able to reduce what's expected for ongoing costs going up. This last year was a 20% jump and expected to be high again next time.
And this is property and grounds committee type of.
Correct.
Okay.
Facilities committee. Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mike, seconded by Nick to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you all.
What those, Mike? Tony, do you need anything out of here?
I just need that.
Okay.
Questions?
Okay, yeah.
Please participate.
Thank you. Do those mics turn off?